When we talk about imposed consequences, those consequences that don't just naturally happen, they're things that we create. It's important to consider how to impose consequences for honesty, not just imposing consequences for dishonesty. So this is where we get into, operant learning, operant conditioning, reinforcers and punishers, and I've got other videos available if it would be helpful to get a refresher on that. But the basic premise is that with any behavior, there's something that you're trying to encourage, and there's a lot of times something that you're trying to discourage. Often we focus on discouraging the inappropriate behavior, and we forget to encourage the appropriate behavior. So in this context, we oftentimes focus on punishing the lying or the dishonesty, and we forget that the flip side of that is to reinforce or reward honest sharing. There are a lot of ways to reinforce honesty and open communication. The most basic is just to acknowledge and celebrate it. There might be little material rewards that you can give, especially as you're initially trying to shape and mold your child's behavior. If your child does something particularly appropriate, if you want to connect a reward, material or immaterial, it will reinforce, it will encourage that behavior. So in this case, if your child is honest about something, especially something that was difficult for them to be honest with, you want to acknowledge that, you want to point it out, and you can celebrate it. I remember when my kids were really young and we were trying to encourage them to speak with kindness and respect, there were times where they would randomly get an M&M or a Skittle for having sweet words, and it was a silly way to just acknowledge and celebrate that they were doing the thing that we were asking them and expecting them to do. Now, I understand that there's a fine line between a bribe and a reinforcer, and I promise you there is a line between the two, and it's worth looking into to make sure that you're doing that well. You can acknowledge and celebrate truth-telling on a daily basis. Just every little thing that happens. If they come out of the bathroom and you ask them if they brush their teeth and they say no, instead of just getting angry with them for not brushing their teeth and scolding them for not obeying you, you can first express appreciation for them telling the truth, because that's the thing that you actually want to reinforce and encourage when your goal is to have open and honest communication with your kids.